Hello everyone and welcome to another high-elo game of Age of Empires. Today we're gonna do it like they do on the Discovery Channel, as Heart, playing as the Slavs in blue, gets ready to take on MbL, playing as the Byzantines in red. Now all the players herd their herdables, explore their immediate surroundings with sheep and with scouts, and try to get their butts up to Feudal Age ASAP. You gonna get him? Of course he is. Why don't we take a look at the Civ matchup we will be watching today? Now, the Slavs, a civilization that focuses on their melee units. Slavic infantry, which is already quite strong, can be upgraded to do trample damage, and their unique unit, the Boyar, is a fairly slow but super tanky, powerful cavalry unit with a ridiculous amount of melee and pierce armor. Think Teutonic Knight on a horse. Now, to support their melee units on the field of battle against harassment by annoying things like perhaps ranged units, all Slavic Siege Workshop units are 15% cheaper, which is fantastic because the Slavs have access to all Siege Workshop units with the exception of bombard cannons, and those cheaper siege units can be combined with Slavic monks, which move 20% faster than normal to generate a powerful siege monk rush, adorably called a smush. Now, Slavic castles themselves can be upgraded so that 40% of their stone cost is replaced with wood, which does save a player about 260 stone per castle. Now, to help grow their military production, the Slavs do get supplies and gambesons for free. Their farmers work 15% faster, and every barracks, archery range, stable, and siege workshop actually adds 5 population space, just like a house, which does free up more wood for farms, castles, army supply, depending on what your strategy is and depending on what age you're in. Now, taking a look at the Byzantines, man, oh man, a civilization pretty much designed to take a punch to the face. Byzantine structures get more and more HP as the game goes on, all the way up to 40% more in Imperial. Take a look, starting in even in Dark Age, 2640 is 10% more than the 2400 that the generic town centers do get. Now, Byzantine bombard towers can also be upgraded to get splash damage. They get town watch, town patrol for free, so they automatically see enemies coming from a mile away. Their monks heal units twice as fast. They can slow down enemy advances by spamming so-called trash units for days, because Byzantine camel riders, skirmishers, and spearmen are all 25% cheaper. And their unique unit is the Cataphract, a heavy cavalry unit with a massive attack bonus against infantry that can take a pretty good beating since it has a good amount of HP and pretty strong base armor. Now, when the Byzantines are finally ready, finally do decide to go up to Imperial Age, they only pay 2/3 the cost of doing so, and it does allow them to reinvest, whatever the word is, the appropriate word is, those saved resources into upgrading their cataphracts even more by giving them trample damage and an even bigger attack bonus against infantry. So these two civilizations have potentially some very titillating end game results. I mean, you've got infantry with trample damage that can potentially be wiped out, perhaps by cavalry with trample damage. Then you have a Teutonic Knight on a horse, quite possibly the tankiest cavalry unit in the game, taking on a civilization that can spam camel riders, whose bonus doesn't really care about your armor that much. So lots and lots of potential, interesting, like I said, very titillating. Not sure that's the right word to use in the context of a computer game, but I used it. Cat's out of the bag. Milk has been spilled. There's no going back. Let's take a look at the bases as both players hit 18 villagers, both players clicking up to Feudal Age, literally 2 seconds apart, with our Byzantine a little bit quicker than our Slav. Okay, I guess 3 seconds apart, because Heart's TC idle time is a massive 3 seconds. Oh no, end of the world. Speaking of our Slav, this base is pretty much completely open. You've got gold in the back, you've got stone off to the side. He's finally discovered the last sheep that he needed to. Then there's a very annoying set of ridges and hills here in the forward position that he's going to want to take in order to secure any kind of high ground bonuses, attack bonus, defense bonus, etc. He's got additional gold unknowingly placed on the wrong side of the hill, additional stone off to the front, and additional gold off to the back. Forests, I mean, are we even going to count these as forests? They're in the 1 o'clock, they're in the 9 o'clock position, but the west, the south, and east of this base completely open. Does he at least have a relic nearby? No, he does not. So perhaps a very gross base here for our Slav. Although the one saving grace, primary gold, nice and secure in the back. So while the scouts continue the circle of who will get the high ground, who will get to whack the other one off first. Yeah, I know how that sounded. Let's take a look at the Byzantine base real quick, as both players are now in feudal. Also, 2 forests, this one in the 3 and 9 o'clock position, which basically means that our Byzantine base is open as well, and also surrounded by a bunch of hills. Although him to the back, the forward nice and flat, a nice operational area for potential cavalry. Where is his gold? Primary gold unknowingly placed on the side of a hill. I guess he could put a mining camp up top here or down below. Primary stone nice and secure in the back. Additional gold and stone in the northeast position, and then very forward tertiary gold here for our Byzantine. But unlike our Slav, he does have a relic in the rear position. So we'll see how MbL decides to play this. We'll see how Heart decides to play this. For now, we've got the battle of the little armies, as both players sit on 21 villagers, 3-4 army supply, a few scouts and a spearman taking on a few spearmen and a scout. Let's see who will get the first kill count as the players are circling each other. Blue. Oh, he sees the tip of red. Red sees the tip of blue, and Red's army is converging here at the same time as Blue's army is converging on Red's base. Looks like they did take a bit of damage from the spearman, perhaps even the scout. Heart a little bit in retreat mode here with that villager not having successfully walled this off in time. And now villagers joining spearmen to combat the intruders. And yet, no kills at all. Feudal Age armies are funny like that. You guys know I've been fanboying out a lot lately on the micro involved in Feudal Age army, but because they're so weak, these units are just so weak. Unless you're looking at counter units. I mean, a spearman versus a spearman versus a villager, even a scout versus a villager in feudal when their attack jumps up from 3 to 5 is still pretty funny to watch. The micro required, though, is intense, and the first kill of the game, first blood Rambo prize going to our Byzantine, who manages to trample down a villager near the berry bushes. And as he pulls these blue spearmen to the north, MbL is back. A brilliant little maneuver there to get Heart out of position, but unfortunately Heart didn't chase for that long, and his spearmen are back. 2 kills to 1. Where did the second kill come from? I wonder if it's... Okay, if there's... I either missed it or I didn't catch it on camera. We'll have seen that in picture, or we may have seen it and I just missed it. Apologies. It looks like our Byzantine has this game firmly in hand at the moment. 9 army supply to 8, 29 villager count to 28. So he is ahead in a bunch of metrics. Does ultimately lose 1 unit here. Looks like his spearman here on top of the hill may have had a low ground disadvantage as our Byzantine clears up yet another scout. That being said, MbL, despite having 3 kills to, I guess, okay, well, 3 kills to 3 now, he isn't really doing too much damage beyond that initial 1 dead villager. His lead, as we can see, is still the 1 dead villager. And now look at MbL's massive amount of TC idle time, a whole second. A whole second of idle time, 6 seconds for Heart. Both of those are amazing metrics. Oh, just a little love tap and the villager falls to his knees and dies. But the horse that got him also dies. As now the Slavic base secure from any kind of Byzantine aggression. The Byzantine base, I mean, both of these bases are wide open. Our Slav needs to secure the north. I'm assuming that's where this 1 villager is going. Let's see. Well, he's got a hammer in his hand. So blacksmith in a house. The southern reaches of his territory, he needs to wall this perhaps with a house and a palisade here. But he's creating a bit of a funnel shape where MbL is going to have to take some town center fire if he wants to engage into this. MbL not really walling this off at all. I don't even know what the hell to call this. I don't know what this is. You got a bit of a vertical, a bit of horizontal, a bit of a cup shape to the bottom. But does he really care? He's got a whole bunch of spearmen, 5 of them patrolling the base as his 3 HP scout. 3 whole HP now heads back to the Slavic base to see what the hell is Heart up to. Now, I guess this could be easily walled in. Or do you really want to wall this in now if you've got 2 spearmen already here? Heart peels off 2 of his scouts to the north. MbL is heading up to Castle Age about 10 seconds ahead of his opponent. And look at that. Again, the exact amount of time that we have TC idle time. 4 kills apiece as our Slav just is circling, gathering information, looking for relics. He hasn't, unfortunately, seen the relic that is right here. Remember, his monks do move 20% faster, the Slavs, as there is a high-speed chase developing here in the center of the map. MbL is going to be able to kill this spearman. Maybe not with 1 more poke, but definitely with another second poke. Oh, he's going around the trees. He's going around the trees. That's definitely not good. Oh, he turns around 3, 4. That kind of looked like 4 pokes, but it should have been just 2, I think. 5 HP with a unit that attacks on a 3 and no armor. Not too sure. Maybe the animation is just, like, that was not 2 pokes, right? That was 1 poke. Or was that 2 pokes? I think that's just the animation. I mean, our Slav is just getting the absolute best scouting he possibly can. He has been here. He has come and gone 3 or 4 times. MbL just now discovering the reaches of his opponent's territory. And Heart, not only scouting his opponent's base, also map vision. I mean, look at the map vision on the minimap for blue. Holy moly. I mean, MbL's ahead in score. Yeah, his scouting is also fantastic. Looks like MbL has not scouted the northern parts of the map. Our Slav has not scouted the southern parts of the map. And there are just so many units around here. This is like an arena game where they're fighting over the relics. I'm glad we caught that on camera as Heart one-shots a scout. Light cavalry going up for him. Camel riders for our Byzantine. Not, why the hell not? And that's what I'm talking about. You have a civilization with that boyar. My goodness, the boyar. I hope we get to see some. I always hope we get to see some, but it is an expensive unit. 70 gold is not a cheap unit. But you know what is cheap? A Byzantine camel. I think it's in the low to mid 40s in terms of food and gold. So not exactly a unit you want to keep around. A lot more of a unit you train, throw at your opponent, slow him down, train another one, and then overwhelm with numbers. The scouts, the light cav rather, are they going to get the villager? No, the spearmen chase them away. What's their HP? Okay, this is why, because their HP is down to 1/3 of its original. Do we have husbandry? No, we don't. Do we have husbandry? No, we don't. Okay. Conversion attempt on the camel. I like that there's already monks mixed in here. These 2 camels catching a light cavalry unit. Okay. Ships passing in the night in front of Blue's base here. So all of the armies have been mostly recalled home. Red is kind of taking on a wolf in the center of the map, and that just goes to show you how weak camels are against anything that they don't counter. How many whacks did it take to kill a freaking wolf? A knight would not have had that problem. But yeah, red recalls his army home. Blue recalls his army home. Gathers it here in the front. Army supplies near identical. Villager counts near identical. Our Slav now has a 1 villager lead, having plopped down a 2nd and a 3rd town center. Decent locations for both. MbL, not to be slower than his opponent. Also 1 and 2 town centers, also pretty decent locations. Both players mining stone with 6 villagers. I hope that means we're going to get to see castles. I hope that means we're going to get to see cataphracts, boyars, druzhina, detonets, logistica, and anything and everything else on my wish list here. Every time I cast the game, I just want it all. You guys know the Veruca Salt mentality that I have. I just want everything 0.84 tiles per second compared to the usual 0.7. And that comes automatically with the Slavic monks. They do not need to research any kind of upgrade to get that faster movement speed. Looking at you, Fervor. And let's see how many relics we've got now. 1 relic, going to be 2 in a second. So our Byzantine monk's going to be a little tiny bit slower than our Slavic. Once Fervor completes, he's also getting Sanctity. So this is going to be a little bit tankier as well. A 4th town center going up for both players at the exact same time. Ooh, are we gearing up for a big battle? I mean, usually when something like this happens, and you kind of have a flurry of activity. Ooh, blue lost a another light cavalry here. Usually when you have a flurry of activity, it kind of stops, pauses, the players retreat from one another. And then they just send a few units here and there to explore, to die, to see what your opponent has, etc. It kind of indicates that we are heading towards the players building up in some kind of arms race. Now, whether that means quantity of units or quality of units with upgrades, we have yet to be seen. Neither player having really any kind of upgrades to speak of. We've got forging for our Slav. We've got scale barding armor for our Byzantine, and that's about it. That being said, 600 stone for our Byzantine, almost 500 stone for our Slav. The annoying thing with detonates is that you need to first build a castle. Detonates being the upgrade that converts 40% of your castle's stone cost to wood. So you do save, here we go, you do save 260 stone per castle. But the sour kind of catch-22 part of that is that you actually do need a castle to get that upgrade. So you do have to spend an initial 650 stone on a first castle. So it's not like the Frankish bonus that just automatically applies. Things are cheaper on the whole. And look at that. Look at that. With 4 monks, he stops the production, the construction of a castle, as he himself places a King of the Hill castle here. So both players... Again, this is the kind of posturing and stance of two players that want to fight, but not quite yet. There's a castle here. There's a castle here. Both are within the scope and kind of protection of their settlements. And our Byzantine says, enough's enough. I'm bringing my own monks forward. Surprised that blue isn't trying to convert one of these houses. And now he sees it. He knows he can't compete with 6 monks with his 4. And so he retreats. But has stalled this castle, question mark, long enough. 64%, his castle's at 75. I don't know which one's going to go up first. Let's zoom out. Sorry to anyone on a smaller screen. This one's ahead, but this one has more villagers on it. And red ultimately gets his castle up first, but not that much ahead of his opponent. And not really doing much with it anyway. Whereas our opponent is heading up to Imperial MbL. Still has 400 food, 200 gold to go if he was a normal civilization, but he is not. And so using that 2/3 cost of going up to Imperial for the Byzantines, he immediately goes up. I mean, 40 seconds, not the end of the world in the 30-minute mark of the game just now. I mean, getting a market at the 30-minute mark of the game is amazing and shows you how well Hart has been balancing his economy, not needing any kind of trade. And what the hell is this? Absolutely epic out of MbL. Unfortunately for him, 2 spearmen I don't think are going to hold the line very well against these 5 light cavalry units. And now our Slav knows exactly what our Byzantine is doing, as our Byzantine's protective guard here falls. Oh no, now his villager here is going to bite the dust as well. So 2 dead villagers. Yikes. Now luckily for him, Hart has not pivoted north with his light cavalry. Could have potentially got 1 more villager. Instead engages underneath the town center, loses a little bit of HP, and then runs straight into the welcoming hooves of camels. What's going to pop out of the ether? Does MbL know? He sees another villager. Will he go after him? He does not. He goes after this one. So is he going to sacrifice his light cavalry units? Nope. He just, yeah, I guess, I mean, sacrifices them, getting nothing done. And there they are, the silver-clad bad boys of Age of Empires, with their shirt collars popped, but oh, not to be outdone with silver. Yes, please, let us see everything, everywhere, all at once. I mean, the boyars with that massive axe. I don't know who wins in a battle of Cataphract and Camel versus Boyar. I mean, Boyar, 120 HP. It's not even elite yet. Now he's getting infantry upgrades. Okay, so he's got a whole bunch of pikemen, converted spearmen. Isn't it funny when you convert a unit, there's no more upgrades? It's basically like arrested development. You kind of have what you have, and that's basically it. Our Byzantine getting chemistry, most likely for those castles. Not too sure that's going to affect his spearmen. Those 3 last Feudal Age spearmen who are all still patrolling the back of the base. Camel converted. Camel dies. I mean, I was excited about the Boyars, and I see he is training 2 more. Are you really going to go infantry against cataphracts? I mean, right now there should be a +9 attack bonus against infantry. I don't know why they carved out Condottiero specifically. Might have to do with the Condottiero's various armor classes. I'm not too sure. But are you really going pikemen? There's detonets, so he's planning on putting down... Why not wait 13 seconds until you have detonets? Why did you spend 650 stone when you could have spent, what is it, 390? Okay, questions without answers we have here as 2 Trebs start shelling away at the Byzantine infrastructure to the center, but 2 fat Byzantine castles. Remember, they're an Imperial. They have 40% more HP than the average castle. Camel tried to get some scouting done. Doesn't really need to. Not with the Trebs firing away. Not with his outpost here. And then immediately retreats. Another castle. I mean, the positioning of these castles tells me that blue wants to be the one putting on the serious amounts of aggression and not having to worry about any kind of run by at all. Let's take a look at the cataphract now at a +1/+2. He needs iron casting. He does not get blast furnace. He does not even get husbandry. He's getting armor upgrades now. Finally, some plate barding armor. Where did his resources all just disappear to? Okay, he's just training more and more cataphracts. Going up to 16 cataphracts. They need logistica. Cataphracts are like the Bengali Rathas. You need to kind of spend a good amount of time upgrading them and a good amount of money upgrading them if you want them to really be up to their full potential. Now, that might sound silly because obviously you want every unit, number 1, to be at its full potential, but there are certain units that just, yeah, you need kind of everything if you want them to really work. And cataphracts, just like Rathas, I think, are one of those. And we've got elite Boyars, 150 HP. We got logistica on the way, but does he have elite? No, they're just basic cataphracts. So he's going to have trample damage. These halberdiers are potentially going to melt, but not against just basic cataphracts. You need elite to have that attack bonus jump up to 18. I think right now it'll be at a 15. Yeah, infantry plus finish. Why does Condottiero not go up as infantry goes up? Why did Condottiero go up by 1 and infantry go up by 6? Questions, but look at this. Blue takes a page out of Red's book. Says, I'm gonna wall myself in as well. I don't want any of your units. And the funny thing is that neither of these 2 civilizations are particularly fast. None of them are particularly crazy when it comes to super duper raiding. I mean, you've got infantry and a boyar, which moves redonkulously slow, and then you have the cataphract, which also is not exactly the fastest of units. But let's see it. It's now elite. It's missing nothing. This is a fully upgraded cataphract. 2 of them get converted. What about the boyar? The boyar is still missing the last armor upgrade. Byzantine Trebs shelling away. They miss but hit the villager instead. But the boyars are in. The boyars are moving forward. They're going to get 1 Treb. They're going to get a 2nd Treb. They're kind of being left uncommanded here to the right. They get the 3rd Treb. And now the cataphracts are going to show us what the hell it means to have trample damage on your cavalry and an attack bonus against infantry. They ultimately die, but I think that's more the boyars than the halberdiers. Both players losing a good chunk of army supply, but blue can't engage into 2 castles. Red can't engage into boyars, who are only 40 seconds away from being fully upgraded. The cataphract's trying to get the Treb. Is probably not going to get it, and he dies. I mean, look at the army counts, 37 to 10. MbL has more villagers. What is he doing? He's going full on cataphract. He does have 3 castles here. 1, 2, 3, all 3 pumping out cataphracts. This one needs to be repaired. He's got 350 stone against 2 Trebs on the high ground. I don't think 8 villagers is enough. I don't think 8 villagers is enough. He's going to be relying more on the quantity of the HP as opposed to the repair, although maybe it will be enough. No, not with the high ground. Not with 3 Trebs now. He's got to be so careful. Only 2 or 3 more volleys and this castle is definitely going to fall. And then all of a sudden, he is down 1/3 of his military industrial complex. And just like that, instead of training cataphracts out of 3 castles. He's training them out of 2. But ladies and gentlemen, we have fully upgraded elite cataphracts. We have fully upgraded elite boyars. Why are there no camels mixed into this army for our Byzantine? I get it, they're gonna melt against the halberdiers, but you know what's gonna melt against the boyars? Basically everything. Conversions are attempted here. I love that this is basically just 2 players who decided, hey, we're going to build up our armies and we are going to butt heads and we are gonna blow each other to smithereens as another Byzantine castle goes up at a perfect moment, by the way. Villagers get inside, villagers get inside. Here we go, the cataphracts move forward. They're kind of on the high ground. The boyars are closing underneath 2 castles. Half the boyars are to the north, so the cataphracts might stand a chance here. There's a bit of a traffic jam developing. The boyars pull back. They need the high ground. They need time to heal up from these monks who are busy converting more and more boyars. Our Slavic army is peeling a bunch of units off to various directions because he can't afford to. These boyars are just shredding the cataphracts. Now that the infantry is gone, I don't know that MbL can survive this onslaught, and all of a sudden, his cataphracts melt. A couple of hand cannoneers come in. No, you needed camels, not hand cannoneers. That being said, these boyars are engaging underneath 2 castles. Yet again, these castles are going to be the saving grace for MbL if they succeed. Oh, one of them falls, and it looks like there's boyars raiding to the back of MbL's base as well. This Treb survives 1 boyar, does not survive the follow-up though, and all of a sudden 9 hand cannoneers and 6 cataphracts are all that stand between MbL and a resignation. GG from him. What the hell do you do? 35 fully upgraded boyars and synchronized attack there. Get the castle. No, the Trebs definitely will. This is an absolute epic conclusion to the game. I say conclusion because realistically MbL's trying to get his numbers up. He's gone full on hand cannoneer. I really would have wanted to see camels. I mean, 17 attack against 7 pierce armor, so 10 damage, whereas a camel probably will do 0 melee and then 9 bonus damage, right? I think camels come with 9. And then the heavies come with 18, I want to say. But I guess in that regard, the hand cannoneer is the better unit attack-wise, but attack speed, these guys attack on a 3.5 second delay. The camels, I think, are either a 2 or a 3. I can never remember. I can absolutely never remember the attack speeds of some of these counter units. But man, oh man, MbL choosing to get out these hand cannoneers. If he had gotten these hand cannoneers maybe 4 minutes ago, maybe 5 minutes ago, that would have just perhaps turned the tide of the war, because 3 castles is enough to at least tickle away at the HP of the boyars. It's not going to kill the boyars, I don't think, but holy moly. I thought we were going to get to see Logistica taking on Druzhina. By the way, did we see Druzhina? Did these guys have a I missed, of course I missed it. I'm such an idiot. There's the area of effect range 0.5. So we did ultimately get to see trample damage halberdiers taking on trample damage cataphracts. Now remember, the cataphracts have special armor that actually reduces counter cavalry. You see that cavalry 16? They have armor that reduces counter cavalry bonus damage. So it is just an absolute unit, beast of a unit designed to kill any counter to cavalry. Unfortunately, the boyar is not a counter to cavalry. The boyar is basically the closest we have to a panzer tank in Age of Empires with this amount of HP and attack. And it just absolutely slaughtered those Logistica elite cataphracts. 80 halberdiers, 68 cataphracts, PKPM, heart clicking furiously, queuing villagers, gathering resources, scouting the immediate vicinity. MbL frantically controlling his army across multiple fronts. And by the way, oh, pardon me, I got distracted there. By the way, he is raiding to the back, although it looks like these 2 boyars. Oh, no, never mind. I should have zoomed in earlier. This is not a dead boyar. This is a dead boyar. I thought this one was dead, too. I was looking at the minimap wondering, why is there a blue dot if they're both dead? But no, this one's still alive. And so not only is MbL's economy being wrecked, how many idols did he have right before he resigned? 38. Literally a third of his economy is idle right now. So not only can he not train these units, Yeah, as time goes on, more and more, he becomes even more, his economy becomes even more crippled, and now he's facing off against a civilization that can produce castles or build castles redonkulously cheap. And yeah, let's see when he got Druzhina, because I'm upset that I missed that. That is one of my favorite upgrades in this game. Economy is not too dissimilar. Relic count not too dissimilar. Relic gold not too dissimilar. All 4 resources go at the end of the day to our Slav, who gets a little bit more wood, a little bit more gold, food, a little bit more gold, and a little bit more stone. But a little bit more stone for the Slav is pretty much like a little bit more stone for the Franks, right? 12 conversions out of 175 is not bad at all. What is that actually? 7% or so? 6 or 7%? 11 out of 135 is also not bad. That's like 8% or 7%. So both players getting some good conversion percentages out of total army counts. And let's see, our Slav, there is Druzhina at the 39. 5 minutes ago, he got it. And this, we noticed the Logistica, the elite cataphract. I mean, I didn't notice the elite cataphract. I saw them after the fact. You guys know I pigeonhole, I tunnel vision myself into some battles or some things happening on my screen, and sometimes I do miss it. I'm an old man after all, and old men, you know, we need to choose where we focus. And so I do apologize for missing Druzhina and missing the elite cataphract upgrade. But what I didn't miss is this absolute slaughter. Our cataphracts tried to hold the line, unfortunately could not. They all died. And now there's a few of them survivors. This is like the that Game of Thrones episode at the end, the last season of the Battle of Winterfell, where, you know, Brienne of Tarth and Jaime Lannister and oh my god, what's that guy with the big orange beard, the wildling? I always forget his name. Giant's Bane or something like that. Tormund Giant's Bane. We're all up against the walls, getting overrun by the seemingly endless number of White Walkers, in this case Blue Riders. But unlike that episode of Game of Thrones, it is actually the zombies who win here. Although I don't really want to call Heart's army zombies. That's kind of insulting. It's our Slav with the absolute tank of a unit who overwhelms his opponent, guns down the castles one by one. Even though these castles have a ridiculous 6720 HP compared to his. Actually, never mind. Our Slav's castle is actually also tankier, so they're cheaper and tankier. There you go. There you go. That's why it makes sense to click on units before I open my big mouth. And ultimately, our Byzantine mixed in a good unit. Don't get me wrong, 10 attack against the Boyar with the 7 pierce armor, but a little bit too late. Like I said, if these hand cannoneers had been on this hill with the plus 25 attack bonus earlier, it may have turned the tide of the battle, depending on quantity. I mean, 15 of them is not a small amount. That's basically enough, I think, to one-shot a... actually, is enough to one-shot a Boyar from the high ground. Even not from the high ground if they do 10 damage apiece at 150 HP. So MbL just a little bit too slow to get these hand cannoneers out. Took a fight, delayed as much as he could, but ultimately it is our Slav who not only dominates the mini-map, pulls a page out of his opponent's book, walls himself in. Both of them, MbL never really got around to this one. And it is our Slav who overwhelms the Byzantine defenses. And even in the face of 3 castles, the Boyars charge in. They stand strong, and it is Heartt who gets the W. But GG to both players. Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips and make sure to subscribe and enable notifications so that you're notified of my latest uploads.